So this is kind of a combat knife of my own design, 5160 steel, micarta handle, good for when it gets wet, still grippable. It's one thing I like about micarta, at least the way I use it. I don't like seal it or anything. So got a striking surface here for fail rods, kind of got a shape to it, mostly just for looks. I think it looks cool. Got a little guard here just in case you need to thrust it into something. Unlikely, but if I'm gonna design a knife, I'm gonna please put a little guard, at least on that. A lot of people complain about them getting caught on stuff. I think if you have your hand on it, it should be fine. Personal opinion, obviously. I'm not a combat veteran, obviously. I think I said obviously 3 times there. Don't worry about that. Either way, just a fun little project of mine, and see how well it works against water bottles. That cut really well. Probably should step away from the tree there. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I kind of designed this little knife on a random piece of paper. Obviously, it's kind of I don't know, it's inspired by a few different knives. But I'm like, I want to make this. So I was going to get some like 1095 steel to make it like super tough. But after testing one of my other knives, which is just 5160 steel, through a nail, and it actually went through, I decided I'm just going to use a piece of 5160. Because honestly, if I can hammer through a nail, it's going to go through anything, I'm going to push it through. So I decided that's what I'm going to do, and yeah, so simple knife of kind of my own design. Just some steel I have laying around. See how this goes. Okay, so after several hours of me playing video games, I'm finally back to my knife. It's all nice and forged out. Didn't take too long, which I'm kind of surprised for it to take me a while. But the shape is actually very close to what I wanted, minus the point here, which I've already actually cleaned up. So, sue me. I basically just cut it with an angle grinder, super simple. But other than that, the rest of this is literally forged. So, getting better. Again, this is like way hooked over here. So what I'm gonna do now is basically just kind of clean up the shape a little bit, drill holes for my handle, obviously. You can use some micarta for that, like I usually do for knives like this. And yeah, honestly, I like the way it's shaped. It's a little proportioned differently than my design, but drawing on paper is a lot different than, forging steel. So I've got my knife here, got it shaped. Not quite what I wanted, but it'll do. Got some holes for the handle. That'll be, drive some like tubes through it, thread them, put some screws through it. I've also got these little ridges here, if you can see. Yep. Where that's for like striking a ferrule rod. Not crazy important because I don't know how much you do it, but if I'm gonna design a knife as kind of a combat survival thing, it might be handy. Other than that, this is ready for heat treat. Already heat cycled it, obviously, just kind of did that with some spare time last night. So basically now I'm just gonna heat treat it and get handle scales on it. Okay, now I've got my knife made, basically. Now I just have to add the handle scales, which I got some of my homemade micarta here. Pretty simple. Stainless steel tubes. Gonna thread those out, put some screws through. Call it good. So I'll get back to you once I have these glued on. better if I didn't just punch it. Still fairly sharp.